Hi guys. YouTube was giving me a lot of issue about streaming in landscape, and I'm late. But there's our cat. Hi, cat. Um, I can't hold the phone like this the whole time, so I'm going to try to set it up on the tripod. We are in the bedroom today because I am very tired and I don't feel like standing for an hour. So please cover your ears. I'm about to pop you into the tripod. It might clamp and get really noisy. Just pardon me. Maybe YouTube can get its shit together one day. How's that? How's the audio? Can y'all hear me? Now you have me, and you have Fredo, and part of my hula hoop. Oh, Aaron just came home, so Fred went into hiding. Cat loaf. Aaron, you scared Fred.
I'm sorry.
Aw, he's back under the bed now. Alright, well, it's just me now. Sorry, guys. Fred is still very easily scared. So, yes, Nez, floor hangs. Remember the good old days when we used to be able to hang out? So as you can see, you guys asked for an apartment tour. There's not much to my apartment. We don't even have a door by our living room, bedroom, cat room combo. We have like a bed sheet to separate the space. Sometimes it blocks out the light when I have to flood the rooms for shooting and filming, so that's what we're working with. When I posted this live on my Instagram, a lot of people wrote in saying they're excited, or it sounds like a good idea, or just generally supportive words, which I hope will just flip through the book on my really low-res cell phone capture, and you guys can see what the book looks like. But also somebody wrote in saying that they were physically attacked this weekend because of their race, I guess. She wanted me to read out some Asian recipes, and I actually just put this book up. This is not the book that we'll be flipping through tonight, but this book is on my Instagram now. We are auctioning this book off as part of my book auctions, and it is filled with Chinese recipes, fusion-y Chinese, French-influenced recipes, Chinese-American recipes. It has great explainers for ingredients that are commonly found in Chinese recipes, like Sichuan peppercorns and rock sugar, and generally just delightful stuff. There's kung pao chicken, there's kung pao sauce, there's like gorgeously lit 90s photos like this. And this is a James Beard award-winning book. Susanna Fu is the author, and she is also the chef of, I believe, several restaurants. But I found one of my favorite recipes ever to eat, and you know, I should probably be making this more often, is cold sesame noodles and or peanut noodles. I love sesame and peanut noodles. There's just something, well, I love peanut butter, so, you know, there's that. But I will just read to you, to begin our night of cookbook reading. Cold sesame noodles. Serves 4 as a main course or 8 as a part of a multi-course dinner. In Taiwan, the summers are extremely hot and humid, making it just about impossible even to consider consuming anything hot. These cold noodles were one of my family's favorite lunches during those long summers. The cook always made this dish out of fresh pasta, much like Italian linguine, which he cooked ahead and kept in the refrigerator. He served the cold noodles with sesame sauce, poached julienne chicken, steamed eggplant salad, julienne egg crepes, cucumbers, bean sprouts, cilantro, and hot peppers. He placed everything on the table and we mixed whatever we wanted into our noodles. I prefer to use fresh rather than dried pasta for cold noodle dishes because it has a sweeter flavor and firmer texture. And 2 tablespoons corn or olive oil, 1 pound of fresh Chinese plain noodles or fresh linguine. That's all you need for the pasta portion. And then the sesame dressing is made with corn oil or olive oil with garlic cloves, sesame paste, soy sauce, balsamic, Tabasco. I've never seen Tabasco in a Chinese style sesame noodle. 1 tablespoon sugar with chicken stock, unsalted fried peanuts, and then you can garnish it with Belgian endive. So this is like the very fusiony thing because I've never seen endive used in Chinese cuisine. I've never even heard of endives in how's your walk in the pouring rain?
It wasn't pouring, it was just light drizzle. He's back. Remember how you texted me that you were surprised by him and scared because he just bumped your leg out of nowhere and you didn't hear him?
Uh-huh.
Same thing just happened to me. In the kitchen, I was washing my face mask because we still live in hell world. And I just felt something bumping my leg. Didn't hear him at all. And I jumped.
Yeah.
I was scared by a kitty cat.
It was true. Earlier this evening, I was washing some oranges, and I was facing the fridge. My body was like basically in the fridge because we have a huge fridge, and I just felt this like brush up against my calves, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I felt my spine kind of like jump up and against my skin. It was just kind of like hair raising. And then I looked down, and it's Fred.
We were scared by a kitty cat.
I don't like endives either. Endives taste kind of bitter to me. They taste crunchy like a baby cabbage, very tender, very lovely texture, but the flavor is like super nutty to the point of bitter, like a raw walnut almost, with a little bit of bitter melon. So it's triggering all of my bitter food phobias. But yeah, to garnish, endive, cucumber, red bell pepper, cilantro, sesame seeds, and basically that's it. Like, to make the dressing, you heat the oil up, you add the garlic a little bit and stir it until it's golden, then you add the sesame paste and the soy sauce and the vinegar and all the other condiments, and you bring the chicken stock up to a boil and you add it to the sesame paste mixture, and then you stir into the peanuts, and then you cook the noodles in it, and that's it. Cold sesame noodles. I need to make it sometime, just without the endives, you know? But yes, Susanna Fu, I got this at the Strand for $1, baby. It was on the dollar cart, so I buy some bargain books too.
Do you want me to move your studio light in so people can see the books easier?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna shower now. When I come out,
just let me know.
can we not have the camera facing like that?
Yes, I'll just do
you
this.
don't need to do it yet. It'll be a while. Yeah. I'll let you know.
Do you sometimes duplicate a recipe exactly, or do you prefer adjusting recipes? It really depends. To be honest with you, I rarely cook other people's recipes. It's because I just have to develop so many recipes of my own and test my own stuff. And working from home, I don't have anyone else to feed that food to. So it's like, one, I don't have time to cook other people's recipes, and two, I don't have fridge space to buy the materials that I need to cook those recipes, and three, I don't have mouths who can eat all of this food. So it's a hodgepodge of
Fred will eat your stuff.
reasons. I will kill Fred if I feed him human food.
Isn't that right, buddy? He's waiting by his food. He knows it's dinner time soon. I'll feed him after I come out of the shower.
Yeah, so cold sesame noodles, if you just Google it, there's so many recipes available online, and to be honest, most of them are even simpler than this, probably. So don't be afraid to give them a try, and don't be afraid to adjust seasoning to your own taste, because we all have different preferences. Fred is not allowed on here. He, obviously you saw him take over my roly-poly chair, because while he still has ringworm, we're trying to limit his exposures to surfaces that are hard to clean, aka all of our soft bedding. He did attempt to jump into bed once, and I had to be like, hey. And he responds really well to be like, no, Fred, and like, he knows right away that he's not allowed on there, which again does not support the narrative that he's a complete feral street cat. I'm pretty sure he's been domesticated before and probably just got abandoned. Yes, I missed all the chats, guys. Welcome, Holly. Fira, you're currently at the market. What should you buy? Whatever's on sale. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever you want to eat. It's not my question, it's your question. And as he is a very good boy, he's such a good boy. Hi, Jacquelina. Yeah, he's just lolling about. He woke me up at 7 a.m. today for breakfast. He kept meowing, and I knew I shouldn't have given into it because this just reinforces the fact that every time he meows, he knows I'm gonna feed him. But like, we had trouble falling asleep last night until probably after 3 a.m. because he had zoomies really bad. And when we got him from the foster, I asked the foster, does Fred get zoomies? And she was like, no, he's pretty chill. Yesterday from 12:30 a.m. to like 3 a.m., he would not stop running. And I'm actually terrified that our neighbor downstairs is gonna start complaining because when he gets his zoomies, he's a little loud. He's a little loud. H Mart is great. My small H Mart is really small, but it still has great stuff. I really want to go back to one of those huge Walmart-sized H Marts. Those are my favorite places to be. Just aisles upon aisles of fun stuff I've never even heard of, like toasted corn tea. Who knew? Hi, Lisa. Ooh, yeah. Probably need some rugs, but probably after we get rid of his ringworm. But I feel like yesterday I was like, Aaron, should we tell him to stop? And Aaron was like, he probably just wants us to play. And I'm like, yeah, but it's also 2 a.m. So, yeah. All right, so the book that I was planning on reading with you guys today is called Table of Contents. It is a community cookbook with notes and recipes from writers' home kitchens. And I included the link to where you can purchase this book yourself. It includes a lot of authors, and they're very just, casual home recipes. And I will read you the back cover. In the tradition of classic community cookbook collections, the Table of Contents Community Cookbook offers an intimate peek into the recipe boxes of some of our favorite writers, bringing dishes and reflections from their home kitchen to yours. Proceeds from sales of this book benefit FIG, Food Issues Group, in their food justice and emergency food relief work in New York City. So this is, I believe, on sale for $30. If you'd like to purchase it, it is available now. There's like a whole section in the back with author's bio, so you get to learn who all the authors are, which is pretty snazzy. And let's just give you a flip through. So there are some photos, there's some drawings. It's like really cute inside. It's very almost collage-y and zine-like. It's really fun. And as soon as I give it a full read, I'm gonna put this book up for auction too. Oh my God. Aaron is like so anti-buying crap, but he went to Dwayne Reed yesterday. I forget to buy what, but he ended up with like a bag of cat toys, and he was so excited. He's like, June, look what I got Fred. It was only like $7 for all these toys, and all of these toys are delightful. They're like toys with feathers and stuff, but they're all noisy, Aaron. They're all noisy. They're gonna clatter on the floor. So the person who doesn't like clutter and hates it when I buy new shit ever, bought our cat like 9 pieces of toys that he's probably not even gonna play, and if he does play, it's gonna keep us up all night. Anyway, that's my rant. He's like that dad who never says anything, who doesn't really do anything, but like he gets really excited. Dads. Table of contents. Look at this gorgeous cover image, by the way. It's just like a stack of books, as delicious as pancakes, because it's got that golden maple syrup just drizzling through with a nice pat of butter on top. Fabulous. This photo cover image is by Jessica E. Marks, and it is styled by Kate Buckins. I never used to pay attention to all these credits inside books, so like who the photographer was, who the food stylist was. But now that I work in food media, I pay attention to it all the time because you never even realize, just because, you know, a cookbook has the author's name on it, like Susanna Fu, who's taking the photos? Cover design by Martha Kennedy, cover photographs by Louis B. Wallach. You know, there's so many people. It's like such a team effort. A lot of people said to me when Budget Eats became really popular, like, June, start your own channel, make your own videos. And my first thought is, guys, you literally have no idea how much work it takes to put one Budget Eats video out. I shoot for a week, then Zach has to edit for 2 weeks. And then we get help from Ali, our art director, and Vineet, our senior special effects and video overlord, to like input all those graphics and pop-ups, and it's just a whole team effort. And then Julia has to like cull the footage down to what you see in the final version, and if I had to do that all by myself, I would probably need 3 years to learn all of those skills, and I would do them shittily. And then Budget Eats wouldn't be Budget Eats anymore, you know? So bright on this front page, says Kat. Oh, Fred, you're scratching now? Do you like your little scratching post now? Are you getting zoomies now? Can we? Oh, we can't. What? My tripod isn't good enough. He's just staring at me now like I'm such a weirdo, and I am, I guess. All right, before I start reading this book, what do you guys want? Should I read out all the stuff that's in here and then you guys can vote or shout out a few that interest you and then we can read through it? How should we do this? Nez, these are not square pancakes, they're books. Sarah, you're making onigiri. The rice water doesn't rinse completely clear. It won't be as clear as it is from the faucet. It's fine. Just rinse it 3-4 times and you're good to go. Dawn, read from start to finish? Good Lord. Editor's note. Before our monthly reading series came to an abrupt halt in early March, I'd open each evening by sharing some background about table of contents and my path to becoming a cook who hosted literary readings. The story was simple. During my first cooking job, when I was still writing poetry, I couldn't get anyone, my family included, to read my poems. They were, however, more than happy to eat my food. My ego knew what to do. A decade later, now the chef at the restaurant Egg in Brooklyn, tables of contents became my back door into the world of writers I'd long admired. As it turns out, writers prefer food too. We all know the feeling of essential care that comes from feeding and being fed. One of the things I miss most right now is cooking and eating with friends and family, and all the tangential joys that the hours spent around a meal provide. Absent, for the moment, our ability to host readings and events, we are thrilled to be able to bring these authors' stories and recipes into your homes as a distance gesture of our care. The Tables of Contents Community Cookbook is a collection of notes and recipes from the home kitchens of 36 contemporary poets, essayists, and fiction writers. In the tradition of the PTA or church group wire-bound booklets you can probably still find in the back of you or your parents' kitchen cabinets, this book peeks into the recipe boxes of some of our favorite alums from the TOC reading series. Even more satisfyingly, all profits from the sale of this book benefit FIG, which has been mobilizing to provide emergency food relief in NYC since April, home delivering groceries and prepared foods to over 150 families weekly from the Bronx to Brownsville to Jackson Heights to Sunset Park. As part of this work, FIG has built partnerships with organizations, lots of them are listed. I know that FIG's continued efforts to build network for long-term food equity, justice, and sovereignty in NYC will prove as critical as their emergency relief work has this past year, and I'm so grateful for this chance to support their vision. Thank you for supporting this project. We can't wait to see you around the table again. Sugar-free thịt kho. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that is Vietnamese braised pork stew. In parentheses, recipe to being Vietnamese. So I know the image quality is really poor, probably because I'm in a very low light setting. Let me see if I can do anything. Hey Google. I know you did. Ooh, is that any better? Where are we gonna plug in the studio light?
I'll handle it. We have outlets.
All right. Well, in the meantime, hi Vancouver. All right. I left Vietnam. Oh, this is by Abigail N. Rosewood. And I guess this is a digitized illustration of pork belly and some scallions and eggs. I left Vietnam at an age too young to have inherited recipes. By age 11, I'd begun losing my birth country, not only the past, but losing forward all the times I would have spent with my grandparents, or circling around my nanny as she busied in the kitchen, hacking beef into smaller bits using a butcher knife too large for her, churning soybeans into delicious milk, having her feed me another spoonful of ground turmeric and bee pollen as a cure for all my ailments. Loss is future tense. Everything that was once possible, a continuum of existence, the things I counted on to repeat themselves, have become memories. My memories of food are rich and abundant. Standing by the stove, I stir the pork stew with a spatula instead of long wooden chopsticks like my nanny would have done. I add a little more fish sauce, a generous pinch of pepper, a splash of coconut water. Everything I'm doing is intuitive, a mere guess, the aroma guiding me. Wherever I am, in my college dorm kitchen, in my apartment in Brooklyn, the space erupts with memories. My grandfather sitting across from me, his perpetual tan, the steam of fresh, fluffy rice my nanny handed us in palm-sized ceramic bowls, the drone of soccer in the background, sports and news being the only two channels my grandfather was interested in. I'm alone in the kitchen, but it doesn't matter. The simulacrum? Is that how you say that word? The simulacrum is enough to make me tremble. This recipe is an approximation of landscape, people, language, and of love too. It has survived translation, forgetting, my own underestimation of how much I could recall. It is born of both happiness and desperation, my teetering on the edge of what it means to be Vietnamese and how to do so. Loss is future tense, but I gain by remembering. So much of Vietnam is forever lost to me until I'm enveloped with the taste of home. For a moment, there is no distance between then and now, New York and Vietnam, absence and love, who I would have been had I not left, all possibilities existing simultaneously. Not an approximation, but occurring. Wherever I am, I'm still a girl, enjoying a meal with her grandfather. The ingredients are actually not that long. 2 pounds pork belly, 6 hard-boiled eggs, 3 to 4 cups of chicken or beef broth or bone broth, 1 tablespoon of coconut water, 3 tablespoons fish sauce, 1 tablespoon soy sauce, pinch of pepper, a little bit of umami or mushroom powder, 1 yellow onion chunked, 1 minced scallion, 3 medium-sized potatoes chopped. You boil the eggs, you cut the pork into chunks, you sear the pork and the onion, you add the broth to the pot, you add the soy sauce, fish sauce, coconut water, you turn the heat up to high, and when it boils, you turn it down.
You don't need to tilt the camera away. I put on pants.
Pants! You let it simmer for about 2.5 hours. Time is the great equalizer. Make sure that the liquid doesn't evaporate completely. You want to have a good amount of sauce at the end. Add more broth or water if necessary as it cooks. Eyeball it. During the last 40 minutes of cooking, add hard-boiled eggs and potatoes to the pot. Garnish with scallion and pepper. Serve with rice and a side of kimchi or any kind of fermented vegetables. And enjoy. What do you guys think? We just read one recipe. Obviously, there's 36 recipes. I don't think I can read them all tonight. What do you think about me just reading the prefaces? I really enjoyed the prefaces. But, you know, if I read the title out loud and a lot of you want to hear the recipe, I will obviously read it as well. Just let me know in the chat and I'll read whatever you want. Let me tilt you down. Okay. All right, the next one has a beautiful green colored illustration by Olivia McGiff. It's so pretty. Turkey Aloo Kima by Alexander Chi. This recipe for a turkey aloo kima comes from, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this name. It's spelled I-Q-B-A-L, new word, S-H-A-H-I-D, Ali, the brother of the late Kashmiri poet Agha Shahid Ali. By way of my friend Peng Yu Chin, a Malaysian chef in Amherst, Massachusetts, who is the husband of the poet Daniel Paul. That was all one sentence, and that was a lot of names. If you need an extension cord, I do have one.
It'll reach
Okay, cool. Aaron is setting up our lights now. Sorry for the interruption.
Why did it sound like you've never read a Chinese name before in your life?
Well, because it's not really a Chinese, it's a Malaysian chef, so I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, he could be ethnically Chinese, I don't know. All right, shall we wait for Aaron? Flip it and reverse it.
I don't know, how do you want this position?
Just turn it on.
Maximum brightness, or minimum, I don't know. Also lower it, does this lower it?
Yes.
I'll let you handle it.
Please
I
hold,
brought it in
we're
here.
going to adjust the lights.
I'll talk to you guys in the meantime. What exciting comments do we have today? What is Aaron doing? Showering. Well, not anymore. That's what I was doing. Hey, soy boy. Back at you. That was nice.
Why isn't this?
Maximum brightness, Aaron trying.
What?
June is currently, I'm not going to pan the camera over because it's secure on the tripod,
Oh my gosh.
but she is really struggling with the studio light. Just turn it around, I guess.
There we go.
Ooh, are you ready to use two? What are we using? Favorite smell? Petrichor.
How does that lighting look, guys? Is it better? I can't tell. You tell me if it's better.
I think it's better. If it's more light, it's definitely better. All right, enjoy.
Thank you, Aaron.
I'm gonna eat hummus because I got falafel hummus.
Oh, yay! What flavor did you get?
Kalamata olive.
Okay. Well, I hope the brightness adds to our quality, image quality, but you know, we're still on our cell phone. And I don't remember if I wiped it today, so apologies. I'm going to continue with our preface. I asked for it one evening after dining at their home, and Peng Yu sent it, saying he always believed recipes should be shared. I offer it in that spirit, his spirit, as he is the soul of generosity. I don't think he made it with 12 whole dried chilies, and I never do. I reduced the recipe by 1/3, as this recipe would make a lot. Peng Yu's advice to me was that if you reduce the ground meat, also reduce the tomato paste, green beans, and cilantro, which is of course sound advice. He told me he usually adds fenugreek seeds, which should be browned or mahoganyed well, or they'll be bitter, black mustard seeds, and fennel seeds, which browns quickly, so add it later. I put the ground spices in the pan after the whole spices for a minute or two before adding the ground meat. It's a very satisfying meal, one I started making while I was the visiting writer at Amherst, which always reminds me of the community of writers and students there that Daniel and Peng Yu had over to their home for meals before the honored guests in our reading series read. The sort of literary community built in part with food that reminds me of the one made at tables of contents. And that is the ingredients list. Sam, where do you live that I have to fly 20 hours? I don't know if I've ever been on a plane for 20 hours. Our next recipe preface comes to you by Angela Flournoy. It is collard greens braised in coconut milk. Are you feeding Fred?
Yes.
Ooh.
I don't think there's enough food in this one in the fridge, so I'm gonna open another can.
I measured it. It's 2.5 ounces. If you give him half of the dried food that I made this morning in the glass jar, it should be enough for him today.
Okay. Where's the glass jar?
Do we want to go see Fred being fed?
He is a real manipulator. You should come see this. Since I walked in the kitchen, he's been rubbing his head on me, just like following me, being the sweetest little kid.
He is such a manipulator, guys. He's...
Yeah. Oh, now he's rolling on his belly.
Cover your ears.
Look at this. He's literally giving me acting sweat because he's rubbing his head on my feet. I'm gonna disinfect him after. Yeah. Well, now he's not going to, obviously, because he's on camera. But oh, yes, this is what he's been doing since I got in the kitchen.
Are you gonna feed him?
I'm starving to death. Please. Oh no, I will die. Please.
He's definitely gotten chubbier since we got him, I think.
I will die in the next 5 minutes if you don't feed me.
Okay, where's the jar you said?
Cats. This one?
Cool.
Just half of that, yeah. Fred is such a good boy, though. But yes, he knows how to behave to get exactly what he wants. I'm showered, dude. Save your fungi for another day.
I gotta wash my feet again after this.
Yeah, it's maybe we'll just get ring them all together, you know?
Okay. And you suggest all the medicine in the first batch?
Yes, please. You know, when you left for your walk, he did this to me in the kitchen. Exactly what he was doing to you now. He wanted me to feed him. And I was like, no, but I will rub you down. Hey, do you know that you have fungus all over you? That you're spreading to me, to my chair, everything that I own? Do you know that every time you whip your tail in my face, you're sending spores up my nose? Do you know that you give me so much pain and so much joy at the same time? Do you know what you're guilty of? Do you know?
Please, I'm starving. I couldn't go another moment before I starve to death, please. If you only knew the pain I was in.
Yeah, I almost tripped on him today. No joke. He was blocking me from leaving the kitchen, so I almost stepped on him. He knows how to block you from leaving the kitchen before he gets fed. And do you remember when Julia showed us that video of him twitching his head to point in the direction of the kitchen?
Yeah.
He did that to me today. He was like, "Feed me now, I know where the food is. This way." What? Let me show you where the food you keep to feed me is. How's your medicine going? Push slow.
Yes, I know it
Splatters.
splurts.
Yeah.
Yum. He's begging.
Please help me.
Fred, what do you think about our plane noises? Do you like them? Do you care? Do they stress you out? Is that why you're losing fur? Is that why you keep grooming yourself there? Or is it just because you have the ringworm?
Nice and soupy like June likes it.
Yes, please. May I have the mush?
It's beyond mush. It's cat soup.
Yes, please. May I have the cat soup?
There you go. Now you're not gonna starve to death, are you, buddy?
Oh, I forgot to tell you this chunky food, he has trouble biting it. So I should have told you to mash it up with your spoon a little bit more. Whoopsies.
Two chunks.
Yeah.
Funny he can eat those hard treats, but he has trouble with this.
Yeah, he just always leaves them on the floor like you see him do already. How is it, Fred? Just wasting food again, huh, Fred? Look at this. Look at this wastage. You better eat that. Riveting content as always, guys. Riveting content. Yeah, I think he really likes moose food, so I think we're gonna buy him more pate stuff. The chunks are a little bit hard for him.
Or gravy, right?
Yeah, gravy. La
Cats
gravy.
like gravy.
Alright guys, it's time to vote. Do you want to watch Fred eat his dinner or do you want to go back to books? Tell me now. Tell me now. Okay, we'll look at Fred for a minute more and then we'll go back to books. Oh, wow. You guys are really demanding. You want books and Fred? Fine. Jesus Christ, guys.
I'm mashing up the second batch.
Thank you, Aaron, for mashing up the second batch.
Here. Second batch is ready. I'm gonna wash my feet.
Okay. Let's see if I can use this water bowl. Hi, Fred. Am I too close to you? Anyway, braised collard greens in coconut milk. Collard greens are my desert island food. I grew up eating them cooked the southern way, stewed with meat, usually smoked turkey in my house, and mostly on special holidays. The method my grandfather and then my mother used to prepare greens required an hours-long, salt-laden soak of the leaves in a kitchen sink, followed by at least an hour of slow simmering. In my own kitchen, collard greens come together in a matter of minutes and can be eaten for every meal. Sautéed with a fried egg on top with rice is a breakfast staple for me. Living in New York with its wide offering of cuisine from the African diaspora, I've had the pleasure of eating collards in the form of Ethiopian gomen, learning to love cousin greens like the amaranth and Caribbean kalaloo, and understanding the textural value of adding nuts to savory dishes, as the Senegalese do. My grandfather and mother are no longer here, but a good pot of collard greens on the stove still makes me feel close to them, no matter the style of preparation. That's all the ingredients. Sorry, did I interrupt your food? I'm so sorry, my sir. Brioche French toast with fresh fruit by Binny Kirschenbaum. Look at this illustration. Wow. That's a great illustration. I love it so much. That illustration is by Anna Williams. I come from a line of women who could not cook, or rather, they couldn't cook anything you'd want to eat. My recipes are confined to adding fresh vegetables to a can of soup, pasta with olive oil and grated cheese, arugula salad with watermelon, and French toast, which is the only recipe in my culinary repertoire that provides me with a modicum of pride. Mostly I go out to eat or order in. Glorioso's Ravioles by Brenda Lozano. The illustration says, drink tequila and cook.
His loving interest in me really evaporated right when the food went down, huh?
The illustration is brought to you by Moria Grace Rodriguez. Cooking is also a way to bring a loved one who has passed into the present. Thinking about my grandmother and listening to music that she liked are ways I communicate with her when I want to share something with her. But when I miss her, it's cooking that brings her closest. My grandmother's name was Gloria, and she was incredibly talented in the kitchen. One of the things that made her feel good was when someone would compliment something she had cooked. She barely learned to read or write, only studying up to the 3rd grade in elementary school. She married my grandfather young in the 1950s, and the song they danced to was It Had to Be You by Frank Sinatra, which I found out about on their 50th anniversary when I saw them sway to the song again on the dance floor. They had 5 children, the first when she was in her 20s and the last when she was in her 40s. And my grandmother dedicated her life to taking care of the home. As a couple, they had an active social life. My grandmother liked to spend time with her sister, to be visited by neighbors, friends, her children's friends, and the families of her children's friends, because she loved to cook. She put on music and served herself a shot of tequila that she left on the sill of the kitchen window and sipped between conversations with whoever was in the kitchen.
Garlic onion Triscuit?
No thanks.
Okay.
Dancing between the refrigerator, the stove, and whatever was simmering in her pots. She was a woman with a sense of humor, and I remember having a great time in the kitchen. To the extent that once as a child, someone asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I said I wanted to drink tequila and cook. One of the things that she liked to do when expected and unexpected people came to her house was to cook simple ravioli, famous among neighbors and friends, and better known as the glorious ravioli. They are simple to make, and I recommend adjusting your ingredients in a way that recalls someone you love very much who is no longer with us. Cover your ears. Gloriosos ravioles. Here is the ingredients list. Ooh, this is a recipe that I feel like is very much delish. It is pineapple pecan cheese ball. This illustration is by Moria Grace Rodriguez again. The recipe and the write-up is by Carmen Maria Machado. Make fun of Midwestern cuisine all you want. My mom is from Wisconsin. I do it plenty. But there's something to be said about a colorful, texturally pleasing, sweet and salty appetizer that you can whip together in no time at all and serve with crackers. This recipe is endlessly variable. For example, many versions that you can find online include finely chopped red and green bell peppers, mostly for crunch and color. You can use shallots instead of scallions in a pinch, and probably other alliums as well. I also imagine you could swap out the pecans with walnuts, though I would never because pecans are wonderful. I agree. You can also fuss around with the spices. Right now we're using seasoned salt, which includes lots of lovely flavors. Garlic, paprika, onion, chili, oregano, pepper. And a little extra paprika for a smoky kick. But I bet there's a wonderful adaptation of this recipe that uses turmeric and ginger and coriander and cumin and garlic and salt and pepper instead of seasoned salt. I've also seen variations that call for a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce, which would make the recipe non-vegetarian if that matters, but also give it a lovely umami. By the way, guys, there are vegan Worcestershire sauce out there. I don't know how they taste, but you could also very well substitute with fish sauce and a little bit of soy sauce. Show you. What up?
Maybe this is a stupid question,
Yeah,
but
what's
are
up?
you allowed to read whole chunks of copyrighted books out loud?
I don't know, guys. Oh well, we're doing it. You're only limited by your imagination and palate. Just taste as you go. Good luck and happy eating. It makes 1 large cheese ball for a party, 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, 1 8-ounce can of crushed pineapple, 3 tablespoons of scallions, 2 cups of pecans chopped and toasted, 2 teaspoons seasoned salt, half a teaspoon of paprika, and crackers to serve. And that's it. Just mix it all together. Yeah, are we gonna get copyrighted? I don't know. This illustration is by Leah Trumerman. Trumerman? It's beautiful. I love it. Oh, somebody help me with this Korean soup name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Miyukguk? M-I-Y-U-K Yeokguk. This one is brought to you by Crystal Hana Kim. Myeokguk is a traditional Korean soup most commonly served on birthdays. Growing up, one of my favorite birthday traditions was running into the kitchen to have my bowl of myeokguk before going to school. Myeokguk is also the first dish new mothers consume to fortify their bodies after labor. Hence this illustration. I gave birth in June during the pandemic, and though my parents couldn't stay with us because of quarantine measures, my mother dropped off a week's worth of myeokguk to keep me nourished. It's a warm, inviting, and flavorful seaweed and beef soup. I hope you enjoy. Wow, this ingredients list is really small, guys. Really small. You need some dried seaweed, you need beef brisket or shank with minced garlic, a lot of water, some soup soy sauce or fish sauce, dashida, which is optional, and sesame oil. Thanks, Del, for that, and Una. I tried, guys, I tried. This is a delightful titled piece called Broke in Rice. Broke in Rice. Get it? Get it? Broken rice? Broke in rice. The wonderful illustration graphics is brought to you by Brooke Herr. It features a bowl of rice looking angelic surrounded by flowers. Broken Rice, after Dennis Smith's poem of the same name from their collection, Homie. The night before Dennis joined us for our last pre-pandemic tables of contents reading, I went to see them read at BAM alongside Donica Kelly and Malcolm Tariq. The memory of those two late winter evenings are ones I slipped back into over the following months, rewrapping myself in the buzz and beauty of poetry shared in fully alive spaces. At the TOC reading, as always, Denez shone, their poems steaming off the page so savory you could smell them. A few weeks before our event, Denez had shared some questionable takes on rice, briefly not a fan, about which Twitter had a lot to say. I not so secretly hoped to change their mind, so Denez tweeting out some mid-mouthful praise of this braised and broken dish was definitely a TOC highlight in my book. That was written by the editor, Evan Hankser. This ingredients list is a bit long, actually. Let's see what it is. You braise your beef, you brown your beef, you remove your beef, then you add the onions to brown, then you add stock and hot sauce, and then you cook in an oven at 325 for 1.5 to 2 hours until tender. Then you cool it and you shred it. And then you cook your rice or broken rice. You can use leftover rice. And then you cook your mirepoix, which is onion, celery, garlic, and a lot of butter, pinch of salt until they're soft. Then you add the cooked rice to the pan, sizzle it all together, put a little salt, a little pepper. You mix the beef into the rice, or you can plate it first and top it with the beef. And then you can drizzle it with some herbs or chili jam or both. And while your bowls are steaming hot, you top each with an egg yolk. Stir it all together to a rich, sticky union and eat. Does anyone put raw egg yolks on their food and stir it in? I feel like it's done a lot in like Japanese breakfast dishes, and I've always wanted to do it, but I don't think I've done it yet. But I probably should do it. It sounds so good. The next piece we have is falafel, but it's spelled in a very interesting way, F-E-L-A-F-E-L. And the illustration is also very interesting. It looks a little bit like Jesus. A little bit like a Jesus Christ figure, juggling a rainbow of falafels above his head. And some peeps are tossing some falafels through this very abstracted windowscape. This illustration is also by Moria Grace Rodriguez. She is a very talented person. This intro is also written by the editor Evan. The recipe is after Eileen Miles' poem Last Supper. Makes sense now with the Jesus illustration. From their collection Evolution. Eileen joined the Table of Contents reading series in September of 2019, reading from their new poetry collection Evolution. The poem that inspired this falafel in Eileen's spelling, is called Last Supper, which is almost too perfect. We're going to read an excerpt of her poem now. I watched the men in the takeout shop, falafel men, spoon sauce generously, and I thought, make it good for me. It is my last supper. I had never made falafel, but I intended to make it good for Eileen. We served mini pita sandwiches, maybe a quarter the usual size, stuffed with this falafel, dressed with cabbage, pickles, white sauce, hot sauce, and little grape tomato halves. Oval, like an eye, the bottom of the boat, a death boat, as Eileen put it. This recipe uses dried chickpeas. You can also substitute navy beans or great northern beans, basically all white beans, soaked overnight. It has garlic, onion, coriander, cumin, cayenne, parsley, cilantro, salt, black pepper, baking powder, juice of half a lemon, and a lot of oil for frying. I love falafel. It is truly one of my favorite foods ever to eat. My favorite falafel joint is in Astoria, King of Falafel, and they sell just a falafel, I feel like for 50 cents a piece. So it's a really affordable treat for me to just like order 8 pieces of falafel, and then I don't actually like their hummus, but I love eating my falafel with hummus, so I'll usually just make some hummus and I'll take their falafels home and I'll just like scoop it up with my hummus and just like ram it into my mouth. You get that crunchy fried exterior of bits of herbs and chickpeas in there, and the interior is like really bright, gentle green with all the herbs, and it's nice and moist. It's a little bit textured and crumbly, but it's still soft, super fragrant. Hot from the grease oil is great. Leftover is also great. I will eat it any which way. With that creamy hummus, oh my god, feed it to me. Ooh, garbanzo flour won't give you that graininess that is a really lovely texture to have. It'll just be a little bit denser. I feel like I've done some sort of like falafel adjacent thing with ground legume flour on Budget Eats, and it's just never as enjoyable, but it'll work. You'll just have a different texture. Oh, man, I love falafels. Next recipe, Every Single Day Ricey Salad by Emma Straub. And the illustration here is by Leah Termerman. I love this illustration. It's so colorful, and then you have portraits that are like black and white line drawings. I love the style. Really makes it pop. I am not now, nor have I ever been, a good cook. I didn't grow up cooking, and as far as I can tell, no one in my entire family has ever gotten particular joy from cooking, except from some of my cousins who are very good at making pies. The rest of us, well, we eat. We manage to feed ourselves and our children, but let's be honest, it's nothing impressive. These last several months, though, I have been cooking far, far, far more. Go figure. And though my husband and I have several recipes from various places in rotation, more often than not, dinner is this: a Ricey salad. It's delicious, comforting, warm, and makes me feel like I'm doing something good for my body by not only putting pizza and pasta inside it. The ingredients: 1 cup of an uncooked rice type thing. This is the only thing I actually measure. I like farro best, But you do you. My gosh. Emma, you are speaking to my heart. 1 can of chickpeas, some kale, or some cauliflower. And I'm saying it like this because there's an exclamation point after every single line in the ingredients list. Or some broccoli, or some asparagus, or literally any vegetable you like/have.
Did you write this recipe?
No, but it sounds like one of my recipes, Emma. Some feta, maybe. Some avocado, maybe. Some seedy things, maybe. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite recipe ever, which is to say it is not a recipe at all. It is delightful. Guys, this is the one recipe I have to read out because it's such a delight. The way she wrote it is so conversational. Directions. Dressing. Okay, so this is where I go one of 3 directions. I'll give you all 3. This isn't so much a recipe as it is a map of my taste buds. Here's what I like. Creamy, sweet things. Sorry, I can't help it. I only ate fettuccine alfredo for like 7 years. Here's what you need. Either a fork or an immersion blender. If I could marry one kitchen appliance, it would be the immersion blender. I don't know what I would marry as a kitchen appliance. Cast iron? That's not an appliance. Option 1, tahini, yogurt, maybe some white wine vinegar, water. Fork it up until it's delicious, and if it's not delicious, add some more things you find in your vinegar neighborhood. Option 2, good mustard, white wine vinegar, olive oil, maybe a shallot, lemon juice, whatever's nearby, mix until delicious, see above. Option 3, have too many ripe avocados because you bought 6 and they all got ripe at the same time. Why does that always happen? Make some avocado saucy stuff. Break out the immersion blender, throw in an avocado, some yogurt, some vinegar, some fresh herby things if they're nearby, and see what happens. Preheat oven to something hot. 400, maybe 425. Rinse chickpeas, throw those puppies on a baking sheet, cover it with oil and salt and pepper, and lots of Aleppo pepper from Sahadi's. Oh my god, I love Sahadi's. It is this amazing shop that sells a lot of Mediterranean ingredients and has a huge selection of bulk items, and it's in Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn, and I freaking love that place. I love that place so much. Emma, can we date? Maybe I marry you. Don't mix stuff on the same sheet pan unless you're doing a purposefully mixy thing, says Samin Nosrat. But I always listen to Samin because she knows stuff. So chop up whatever veggies you're doing, put them on a different sheet, and then treat them much the same as the chickpeas. Maybe this is when you realize you also have half a red onion or something that you should just throw in too, so go ahead and do it. Just don't tell Samin. Put your sheet pans in your hot oven, and while they're happening in there, make the farro/rice/grain as you like it. Wait until all the sheet pan things are crispy and delicious, somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. Then take them out of the oven, make yourself a mountain of goodness, top with feta if you want, top with whatever dressing you want. Maybe if you're feeling so fancy you can hardly stand it, remember that you have some pepitas and put those on top of the whole shebang. Congratulations! Pour some wine to celebrate, you just won a James Beard Award, you. What a delight. That was amazing. I love that so much. Oh man. Ooh.
Shop around again.
I think I'm in love. That was Emma Straub. Straub. All right. The next recipe is by Gina Apostle, and I have no idea how to pronounce this. Ginat-an. The illustration is by Brooke Herr. Hi, Toronto. In my language, Waray, I'm so ignorant, I don't even know. I wonder what language, wait, let me do a quick Google search. I'm so ignorant, guys.
What's the language?
Waray, W-A-R-A-Y. It is Austronesian language. And it is the 5th most spoken native regional language of the Philippines. All right, we are in the Philippines, guys. In my native language, Waray, we drop the vowel like a mic. Tagalogs call it ginatan, we call it ginatan. But no matter how you say it, the literal definition of this dessert, which I cook for breakfast, is simply cocoa nutted. That is, made with gata, or coconut milk. There are tons of Filipino dishes made with coconut milk, but this one grammatically conquers all the others. It's the only dish made with gata that's called simply ginatan. Is it ginat or ginat? I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. A sweet dish, the recipe usually calls for 2 cups of sugar more than needed. The recipe calls for 2 cups. Given its mix of jackfruit, plantain, camote, which is a sweet potato, glutinous rice balls called bilo-bilo, and tapioca balls. So I include the sugar here, but to be honest, I only put in a dollop just to taste. In my household, I'm not the only one who cooks adobo or garlic rice with fried eggs on top called silog, or fancy babinka, a rice cake filled with ricotta cheese. My Irish partner is the chef of those iconic Filipino dishes. But during this pandemic, when a mood might dangerously shift into a senseless tug of losses with no name, I have learned to cook my single dish, the only one I long for, and therefore I need to cook it if I want it. Ginatan. For me, it is ordinary but soothing. The smoothness of tapioca melded with the stickiness of bilo-bilo, based in jackfruit's sugars, the dish's glutinous sweetness, a remembrance of things taken for granted. The sticky hash of childhood, a tropical merienda with those homely ingredients you don't think about except in absence or the infinity of pandemia. Merienda. I've never heard that word before. Now I have to look up another thing. This is why I get so distracted when I read books, because I come across so many words and things I don't know about, and then I go down this like Wikipedia Googling rabbit hole. Merienda. Afternoon snack or night tea. Oh, so like little snacks. You boil the water, then you boil the coconut milk in the water, and then you mix the jackfruit in, and then you add the sliced plantain, and then you add everything else. You put in the bilo-bilo, you put in the tapioca balls, you eat it in a bowl. So it's like a little sweet soup of sorts. What up, Fred? Hey!
I shoot him off from here, so he came over.
Yeah, so he's giving me spores now. What up? Who's tired? Y'all tired yet? Should we go to sleep? Should we continue reading? Story time? Hi, Fred. Bye, Fred. Ooh, okay. Well, I have to read the
He
next
smells
one.
my chicken.
Yeah, of course he smells your chicken. It's delicious chicken. Chicken. Well, the next one that is totally my thing is lentils. Simply titled Lentils. The illustration is by Brooke Herr. The recipe and intro is by Heidi Julewitz. In 1991, I moved to San Francisco. I didn't have a place to live, so I went to a place called Roommate Referral. Basically a room in a building on Upper Height filled with binders. I flipped through pages of people looking for a stranger to fill one of the many bedrooms in their huge, cheap flats. I replaced a different Heidi in a flat on Lower Height, so sprawling it had a spare room called the sewing room. My rent, I believe, was $465 a month. One of my roommates was obsessed with a chef called Judy Rogers, and the restaurant Rogers opened at the bottom of our hill called Zuni Cafe. I ate at Zuni maybe 3 times while I lived nearby, but only in the bar area. Once I ate a hamburger, once some oysters, once a bowl of polenta with gorgonzola and sage. Eventually, Rogers published a cookbook. It's worth owning and cooking every single thing in it, including these lentils. I stopped looking at the recipe years ago. I use way more carrots and slightly more wine than is called for. I am not vegan, but this recipe just happens to be. Ingredients: 3 to 4 carrots, 2 celery stalks, 1 medium onion, olive oil, 1½ cups of red wine, 1¼ cups of lentils, preferably beluga, second choice pui, third choice whatever you can find. Fresh thyme, water. Next one up is grapefruit custard. Look at that illustration. It's just a galaxy of dessert. My ideal world to live in. Illustrations by Moria Grace Rodriguez. This intro and recipe is by Helen Phillips. This recipe comes courtesy of my husband's family in Maine. I had never heard of grape nut custard until I was introduced to it by his mother, who learned the recipe from her mother. I love making this because it is straightforward, yet also creamy and festive. And I love the way the humble grape nut finds new glory here. Whenever I make this for guests, I ask them to figure out the mystery ingredient, and to this day, no one has identified it. 2 cups milk, 2 eggs, a ½ cup sugar, 2/3 cup grape nuts, or more if you love grape nuts, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1 tablespoon butter, cinnamon, nutmeg optional. You mix everything together, you put it in a buttered baking dish, you sprinkle it with the cinnamon and the nutmeg, then you place the dish in a pan of water about 1 inch deep and you cook it at 350 until a knife comes out clean around 50 minutes and you serve it with fresh whipped cream.
You just follow. I'm not giving him my chicken bones.
Chicken bones, that's for me. Wait, I want chicken bones.
I know them pretty clean here. You don't have
Okay.
to trust me.
All right, fine. Guys, you want to hear something really kind of gross, but also is one of my favorite foods ever? This was a college staple of mine. My college had one of those like free-for-all cereal bars, and I used to put a shit ton of peanut butter, a shit ton of grape nuts, a lot of chopped peanuts, a handful of raisins, and I would like stir it all in my large to-go cup. And then I would pour chocolate soy milk over it. And I would let that mixture just sit until it's like half crunchy and half mush. And I would eat. I feel like that cup must have been at least like 1,500 calories. And I would eat that as like my stress, I don't want to write this paper, please make it stop treat. But yeah, that was my one delight to take away from the cafeteria. Had to get my money's worth out of that college tuition, you know? Okay guys, I'm going to make this my last recipe of the night, and if you guys like this, maybe we'll just read through the rest of the book tomorrow if we don't get shut down for copywriting. I gotta show you this art. It is delightful. It is by Anna Williams. It is latke with sour cream on top with a very sexy full-lipped mouth, and some chopped potatoes in the back. This piece is by Hilary Lecter. It is named the Lamborghini latke. Sometimes I want the kind of latkes that I eat over the sink. Frozen, shredded potatoes sizzled into patties that immediately disappear seconds after the oil has suffused their bitty spud soles. Sometimes I want a late-night veselka experience, more pancake than latke, the size of a plate, more meal than nosh. Sometimes when no one is looking, I want the garbage chute latke, a rough bolus of every leftover in the fridge snowballed and fried to mashed perfection. And sometimes, I want a Lamborghini. The Lamborghini latke is luxe, sleek, svelte. It's small, like a blini for your bubba. Most of all, the Lamborghini is a vehicle for caviar, sour cream, kimchi, brisket, any topping that tickles your Hanukkah fancy. It's a perfect little car to take your taste buds on a journey. It's foolproof and fries like a dream. My husband and I usually make more than 200 of these suckers for our annual latke and vodka party. We grate them by hand, a badge of heroism to be sure, but if you want to spare your knuckles to shave, I recommend a food processor. Have fun with the toppings. They are the bold accessories to this little black dress. See below for some of my favorites. You can freeze the latkes in advance of your latke binge. Just gently reheat in a warm oven before eating. Nothing worse than a cold potato. Unless, of course, it's a chip. Or potato salad. Okay, never mind. Makes approximately 25 small latkes. Serves me. Toppings. The brunch topping includes lox, creme fraiche, chives, everything bagel salt. There's a lot of toppings here, guys. The deli includes spicy mustard, pastrami, dollop of coleslaw. The Friendsgiving includes cranberry sauce, turkey, shaved Brussels sprout. The Dallas husband includes barbecue sauce, brisket, pickle. The Pringle is sour cream, parsley, chives, fried shallots. Oh my god, that sounds so good. I haven't had a Pringle in forever and I really want one. The Russian tea room has creme fraiche, caviar, salmon roe for us plebes. Salmon roe isn't even cheap, guys. What would be the plebeian equivalent of caviar? What can we have? I would probably just put like furikake on top. It's like a Japanese seaweed, sesame, umami seasoning. That sounds great. The fermentator includes kimchi, cilantro, nori, sliced radish, soft boiled egg. The shiksa is mayo, cherry tomato, thick cut bacon, arugula. I haven't tried this yet, but OMG, one shucked oyster, horseradish, dribble of mignonette. And my favorite, white fish salad and a thinly sliced red onion. Oh my god, I can't believe it, guys. This is the next recipe, but we're gonna pause for the night here. But peanut butter no bakes? Peanut butter no bakes! Peanut butter no bakes! Peanut butter no bakes! Oh my god, peanut butter no bakes. It only has 7 ingredients. Ah! Ooh, apple core.
Enjoy.
Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed our hour and 18 minutes of Fred eating and reading time. I didn't think people would enjoy this one either, but I'm glad those of you who did enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you enjoyed me droning on and on about recipes and stories. I love reading. I just never stay awake enough for it because I'm old and my attention span is like shorter than a fruit fly now. But to have you guys here and to read it alongside you, and also to have Fred just like sneak back and forth and making cameos, I think is quite delightful. I also really like being on my bed, like the lazy person that I am. Yahoo! Thanks for tuning in, guys. Oh, bowl chime. Wait, I wonder if this would chime. What do you think the book would sound with it? Do you think the book would sound like anything? sharp, but that was kind of nice.
Bring your friends to Oh, he's getting the purr on.
What a lovely life, guys. I hope you have a great one. Happy Monday. Happy week ahead. May we all find pockets of peace.
He's running from
And may I fall asleep before 3 a.m. tonight.
Fred hand.
No!